Think about the last big thing you achieved, the degree, the job offer, the thing you told yourself that if you just got it, you'd finally feel like you arrived. Now, be honest about what actually happened. When you got it, maybe there was a moment, an afternoon, maybe a good night's sleep. And then the floor moved, the goalposts slid back. Before you'd even finished celebrating, some quiet voice in the back of your head was already asking, okay, what's next? We have a word for people who feel that. We call them driven, ambitious, high achievers. I want to suggest something different. I think a lot of us aren't chasing achievement at all. I think we're running from a debt we can never pay off. This is the heart of this lesson. Here's a story. Almost all of us were handed about success. It goes like this: you work hard, you earn it, you climb, you achieve, and what you achieve is yours. Proof of your talent, your discipline, your grind, pull yourself up, and the view from the top belongs to you. It's a powerful story. It's on every motivational poster, every graduation speech, every rise and grind caption. And the reason it's so powerful is that it's partly true. Effort is real, discipline is real. But I've spent years now watching people who did everything that story told them to do, who climbed exactly the way they were supposed to, and arrived at the top feeling not triumph, but hollow, anxious, already behind. And when the story you were told doesn't match the life you're living, that's usually a sign the story left something out. So let me tell you what I think is left out. Because the standard explanation, oh, it's hustle culture, it's capitalism, it's social media. That's not wrong, it's just shallow. It explains the pressure, it doesn't explain the hollowness. For that, we have to talk about something the achievement story never mentions. Who actually paid for you to be standing where you are standing? For some people, achievement really is a personal project. They were handed a stable floor and they built it up from it. Good for them, right? But for a lot of us, and I'd say especially for children of immigrants, for the diaspora, for anyone whose family crossed an ocean or a border so the next generation could have a shot, achievement was never personal. It was funded. Think about what that actually means. Somebody left a country they loved, somebody left their language, their parents, family, their whole sense of home, their children, and got on a plane or a boat to a place where their degree didn't count, and even their accent made them smaller. Somebody worked a job far below what they were capable of, cleaned the building, drove the cab, stocked the shelves, and did it for years quietly so that you could sit in a classroom and not think about any of it. And here's the line that gets carried in every phone call, sometimes spoken, usually not. We gave up everything for you. I've watched what that sentence does to people. It's said with love. It's almost always said with love, right? But it's like it lands like a bill because now your achievement isn't yours. It's a return on investment. Every exam, every job, every promotion isn't something I did. It's a payment on a debt you didn't sign up for, but absolutely intended to honor. So you don't get to just succeed. You have to succeed enough to make the sacrifice worth it, enough to justify the plane ticket, the cleaned offices, the years you'll never get back, or somebody else will never get back. We don't have a trophy here. We have a ledger, as I would say. And once you see achievement as a ledger instead of a trophy, everything about that hollow feeling starts to make sense. Because here's the problem with this particular debt, and it's the thing I most want to sit with in this whole presentation, it can never actually be paid off. So let's actually think about this debt, because not all debts are the same. If I lend you money, you can pay me back. There's a number. You hit the number, we're even. The debt is closed. That's what makes a financial debt survivable. It ends. But the debt we're talking about isn't money. It's sacrifice. And sacrifice doesn't have a number. What's the exchange rate? How many promotions equal one parent giving up their homeland? How big a salary cancels out the years your mother, father, or family spent cleaning offices instead of doing the thing they trained for their whole life for? How much success is enough to balance someone handling you the years they never get back? There's no answer because there's no number. And a debt with no number is a debt that can never be marked paid. This is the engine. This is why the finish line keeps moving. It's not that you're greedy or broken or addicted to achievement. It's that you're trying to settle an account that has no closing balance. So every win, the degree, the title, the milestone, it doesn't clear anything. It just gets logged. And the ledger reopens the next morning. You achieve and you feel that hollow thing and you think something's wrong with me. I got the thing. I'm still not satisfied. But nothing's wrong with you. You're behaving exactly the way a person behaves when they're chasing a finish line that, by design, cannot be reached. And here's the cruelest part: the harder you run, the more it confirms the logic. Because every new achievement raises the stakes of stopping. Now, look how much was invested. Now, look how far you've come. Now, imagine wasting it. So you run faster, and the debt just watches you run. Which raises a question I think most people never get to ask because they're running too hard to ask it. Where did this come from? Not the sacrifice. Sacrifice is real and it's love. I mean, the logic. The idea that what you achieve, oh, that your life is a repayment. To answer that, I have to take you somewhere you might not expect because this isn't about just psychology, it's also a philosophy. And some of the oldest, most beautiful thinking about who we owe and why comes from exactly the cultures we've been talking about. I told you we'd have to talk about philosophy. So here it is. There's an idea that runs through much of African thought. You'll find it named most clearly in the Nguni Bantu word Ubuntu. And it's usually translated like this: I am because we are. Sit with how different that is from the story most of the modern world runs on. The West gave us, I think, therefore I am. I, alone, a single mind, proving its own existence. Ubuntu says something almost opposite. You do not become a person in isolation. Become a person through other people. Your humanity is handed to you by your community, your people, the people who poured into you. You are because they are. That is beautiful. It's true. It's a corrective to one of the loneliest lies the modern world tells. that you are a self made individual who owes nobody anything. Ubuntu says you never did anything alone and you never will. There's deep humility in that and deep belonging. But here's something I've come to believe about every powerful idea, even the ones I love. Every philosophy creates, every philosophy casts a shadow. And the more beautiful the idea, the more important it is to know where its shadow falls. So follow the logic of I am because we are all the way down. If I am because we are, then who I am belongs to the we. My achievements aren't only mine, they are the community's. My success is the family's success, which in its best light is gratitude. You never forget who carried you, but in its shadow, it means you're never quite off the hook. Your life isn't fully your own to spend. Your worth becomes a kind of collective property. And rest stops, becomes something you're allowed to take, starts feeling like something you're stealing from the people you owe. You see how the two halves meet now? The immigrant parent sacrifice and the philosophy of the collective self, they lock together. One says, we gave up everything for you. The other says, you exist because of us and for us. Put them together, and achievement stops being a trophy or even a debt. It becomes the rent you pay for the right to belong. Now, I want to be very careful here because it would be easy to hear this as me saying Ubuntu is the problem and Western individualism is the cure. That is not what I'm saying. Individualism has its own disease, and it's an ugly one: isolation. Every man for himself. People growing old and dying alone in a culture that told them they were self made. I will take Ubuntu's shadow over that any day of the week. The point isn't that one is right and one is wrong. The point is that even our most beautiful inheritances come with a cost. And you cannot keep the beauty and set down the cost until you're willing to name the cost out loud. So let's name it. And then let's talk about what to actually do with it. I'm not going to insult you with a tidy fix. There's no 5 step morning routine for this. You can't set a boundary with the way you were raised, and you can't and shouldn't want to unsubscribe from people who loved you enough to give up their lives for you. But there's one distinction that once I saw it, I couldn't unsee, and it's this. There's a difference between honoring a sacrifice and repaying a debt. A debt you repay, it's compelled, it's endless. And as we said, this particular one has no closing balance. So repaying it will eat your whole life and still come up short. But honoring is different. Honoring is something you choose, it's finite. And here's the strange part: it's usually joyful, not exhausting. Think about what the person who sacrificed for you actually wants. Really picture them. Does your person who sacrificed, who cleaned those offices, want a ledger? Do they want you to grinding yourself into dust, anxious, hollow, achieving, and never resting, all to pay them back? Or do they want you to be well, to be happy, to have the life they couldn't? Which means, by definition, a life with rest in it, with joy in it, with enough peace to actually enjoy the thing they bought you. Here's what I've come to think is the quiet truth underneath all of this. You were never handed a bill, you were handed a gift. The debt, the ledger, the I O, that's not something they charged you. It's something we add ourselves out of love and guilt in the exact logic we just traced. The sacrifice was real, but the invoice is one we wrote. And the thing about a gift, the only thing a gift actually asks of you is that you receive it. and then go and live a life worth the giving. Living well is the repayment. Your joy honors the sacrifice more than your exhaustion ever could. A burnt out, hollow, anxious life does not make the plane ticket worth it. A whole one does. And let me give Ubuntu back to you because it was never the villain. Read it again. I am because we are. That's true. Then your rest is also theirs. Your joy is also theirs. Your wholeness isn't a betrayal of the people who made you. It's the thing they were reaching for the whole time. You don't have to earn your place at the table. That was the whole point. You already belong. You always did. And that's the real heart of Ubuntu. Not you owe the O or you owe the we, but you are held by the we. And you don't have to pay rent on being held. So let's get back to where we started. The hollow feeling, the one that shows up the moment after you achieve the thing when the floor moves and the voice asks, what's next before you've even been put down the trophy. I told you at the start, I didn't think that the feeling meant you were driven or broken or ungrateful. Here's what I think is now. I think it's your body, quietly stubborn, refusing to keep paying a debt that was never a debt. It's the part of you that knows, underneath all the running, that no number was ever going to close this account because it was never an account, it was love. And love doesn't actually want to be repaid, love wants to be lived. We treat achievement as a debt we can never pay off, but the bill was never real. We wrote it to ourselves and put down the pen. You don't owe anyone an unpayable debt for the gift of your life. You just have to be brave enough to live it well. Sweet learning for the world. Tamu Academy. Thank you.